guess this means I've lived to play another inning. La 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 la. They tried to slap that look right off my face, but I'm still grinning. And the money ain't run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was, am and will be continuing, and the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Saturday night, but today is a unique day as we are live streaming here in the afternoon to discuss WWE Wrestlepalooza, the first pay-per-view on this ESPN app that both Dom and I stole. We did not pay for the app. I don't want to bury the lead. I stole this show. My name is John Zedell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
How you's a doing? It's Wrestlepalooza.
I love it.
I don't know what to say. They invented a pay-per-view in the end of September just so they could have something on their new app. Okay, I'm here for it. Without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from this quite interesting premium live event, I will say?
Yeah, say what you will. It had like no build. It had random matches, but I guess you don't need storyline when you got guys like Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Really excellent match here where Cody Rhodes goes over Drew McIntyre. But this one was really good. I liked it a lot. Dom, what did you think of the Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre match and Cody winning?
A great matchup between a former TNA world champ and a former NWA world champ. They did bring that up during the match that each of these guys basically had to leave WWE for a while, find success there, and then come back to the company to be where they are now. I think each of them are really at the top of their game right now. This was a pretty cool match. Drew McIntyre, he sort of shot himself in the foot, pun intended, in this match. It was his own over aggressiveness trying to injure Cody Rhodes by doing the Claymore through the facing of the announce table that ultimately did him in, as Cody Rhodes avoided that Claymore, and then Drew sold that he had really injured his right shin back in the ring. Cody avoids a Claymore because Drew just can't make the run across the ring. Cody hits a top turnbuckle Cody cutter, then pulls Drew up for the crossroads, gets the pinfall. This match goes 17 minutes, which was really a good amount for a main event. This didn't need to be like a WrestleMania 30 to 40 minute main event. There were a couple of matches on this premium live event that were longer than this one. So it's not like they cut everybody else short in order to give Drew and Cody more time. They gave them really an amount of time they needed to do what they needed to do. I thought it was a solid match. Drew doesn't win. I wonder if they're setting Drew up for another world title run at some point, because they've teased him having that.
It felt it, and I think there were points of the match where I was like, it sounds like the crowd almost wants him to win. Yeah. Like, even though they're acknowledging that he's a heel, there were some certain points where the crowd was like getting behind him a little bit. And this is probably the first time I've seen Cody like I thought realistically, like, oh, he might drop the title tonight. Like, that was one of the few times, usually like when he was wrestling Kevin Owens, you're like, yeah, you know, he's going to win. He's not going to drop it to him. There's a couple other guys that he's wrestled in the past where you're like, yeah, no shot. But this is the one time I was a little bit hooked with, I was like, oh, I think Drew actually might win it here. So, didn't mean to cut you off, but that's what I was
No, it's a perfect spot to stop my rambling. I like that. Early evening, guys, from across the pond in Great Britain. Good afternoon, good evening, Fixer.
Yeah.
Fixer, tell us in the chat, and other folks, tell us in the comments or the chat if you're live with us. How did you do obtaining this first premium live event since the big move, at least in the United States, over to the ESPN app? I don't think it changed international access to WWE content. But if it did, tell us about your adventures if you had some trying to access WrestlePalooza. So,
Got some pretty good comments here from Fixer. We got,
all right.
going to be honest, but WrestlePalooza didn't impress me. He's giving the thumbs down before the
Right, we got an early thumbs down here for WrestlePalooza. We're throwing together a pay-per-view just to throw Indianapolis a bone and try and get your ESPN relationship off to a good start. That didn't just impress you there?
It was ignoring the fans. And then Drew is never going to have the WWE title as long as Triple H is in charge. Oh,
Really?
Fixer.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I thought those two had smoothed things over. Like Triple H was impressed by Drew doing his best stuff.
And
Netflix per normal over. Okay, so international customers were still getting Netflix. Very good.
Yeah, interesting. We don't have that luxury of the just going on Netflix and getting everything.
Yeah.
We
used to have the luxury of going on Peacock and getting everything.
I know.
Or just signing up directly for the WWE network and getting everything.
$9.99 was the old charge, and then we got Peacock for free through Comcast. But now,
yeah, or even at a discounted price. I mean, it was never that big. Yeah, now it's a hunt. The SmackDown the night before, they did multiple segments where they were trying to teach people how to watch this pay-per-view. They had R-Truth setting up a little booth in the back. He looked like Lucy selling psychiatric advice in the old Peanuts cartoons. And of course, it's Umberto and Angel who walk over, and now R-Truth is trying to teach them how to get the ESPN app because apparently nobody's how to do this. And then a little later, they run another pre-recorded video segment of Cody Rhodes trying to tell people how to watch tomorrow night's premium live event.
That's hilarious.
So they were very aware that this was I mean, to be frank, from another perspective, maybe this is what you do. Like you don't want it to ruin Survivor Series in November where nobody's able to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably don't want to ruin Crown Jewel because it's all champions versus champion stuff. So why not just hastily throw together a premium live event in September because there's going to be hiccups with the new app.
Yeah.
With the new streaming service. So like let's see if we can teach people how to get on the new app with a pay-per-view that it doesn't matter if they miss this one. Or it matters less if they miss WrestlePalooza than it does if they miss Survivor Series and War Games.
That's an interesting point because there's got to be a reason that they're created this pay-per-view. I saw some stuff too where they had a certain number of Actually, no, yeah, they had to It felt like they were doing more pay-per-views on Peacock just to get through the deal, so they can so they could sign with ESPN as quickly as possible because ESPN would pay them more. So that's why they had so many pay-per-views. It felt like they were just trying to get them out. Like they had the random women's only one on a Sunday.
Yes,
the
Evolution too. Yes.
So they were adding more just to get through the contract, but that's just I don't know that for a fact. I think that was I was watching Stevie Richards talk about that, but I don't know if that's true or not. But that's hearsay. Let's just say
that could have been it because there's only after Clash in Paris there were only 2 pay-per-views scheduled: October's Crown Jewel and end of November Survivor Series. So the fall becomes lighter as far as the premium live event schedule. So if they were able to drop in 2 more events during the year in order to make up for those last 2, then hey, it worked.
Right. Hey, just going back to the match here, Cody versus Drew McIntyre. Did you notice one thing with that was sort of a little bit strange with that ref not letting McIntyre hit the Claymore like he did with Cody Rhodes, the same ref doing that same thing?
It was as they went to the floor towards the end where Drew was trying to set up Cody for the Claymore through the announce table facing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ref comes out to the floor, and it looks like he's trying to tell Drew, if you do this, you can't win the belt.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be champion if you do this. What are you doing?
Oh,
I
he's
couldn't
like
hear the exact
reasoning with
words,
him.
but it made sense that the ref would be trying to stop a guy from getting disqualified and or from just turning a championship match into a countout.
Okay. I know what? I listened to it on mute, or like very low volume, so I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I didn't catch the words, but like it would make sense that a ref would try to stop a DQ.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them before where if they can, they grab chairs out of guys' hands as they swing it over their head in the back real dramatically. Like we've seen refs do that. So I could see the ref going to the floor as both wrestlers go to the floor to try and stop a DQ. But Drew kind of slow played that, okay, I hear you, even did the little crossed hands in front of him. And like, okay, I won't Claymore kick him. And then he turns quickly and goes for it. And by that time, Cody avoids it. And now Drew is just kicked through the facing of the announce table by himself. He's grabbing his ankle. Now the ref's got to check on Drew's right lower leg.
Yeah.
As Drew's grabbing it. Drew does a good job of selling it the last couple of minutes of the match. As he gets into the ring, he hobbles. He can't hit the Claymore. And then as Cody goes to hook the leg, Drew can't kick out, but because he's like reaching for his shin again.
Mm-hmm.
So good selling of that final injury by Drew. Earlier in the match, they were selling that Cody Rhodes had some sort of like PTSD from his head. Like he had been pounded the night before on SmackDown. Got a Claymore to the head and a stomp to the head. He had also been out for a few weeks before then, kayfabe for an injury for getting Claymored through the announce table. So there were a couple of times during this match where they're teasing that Cody's just kind of dizzy and he's got, ringing in his ears or whatever, and he's disoriented. He doesn't have his balance to him. It's like, okay, so they're setting up that Cody could lose this belt because of like the head injury that he sustained from Drew McIntyre's previous attacks. But in the end, they go for not that. Cody's fine. And they go through Drew McIntyre shooting himself in the lower shin.
Right.
For another Cody victory here. Makes sense to Cody win. I do wonder what they're doing with Drew McIntyre and who Cody's opponents are going to be now that he's vanquished Drew McIntyre here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's next for Cody? And what's next for Drew? Drew's having a really good run. I enjoy Drew on the mic. I enjoy him in the ring. I would not mind seeing him as the undisputed Universal Champion for a long run. If he won it now and kept it until Mania, I wouldn't have been disappointed.
Yeah.
I think Drew is due for a long title reign. I mean, he had the short one where he had it for 5 minutes after CM Punk cost him the cash in to Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I could see Drew with a real title reign. I think he's that guy who could carry the company and could get a reaction from the crowd, especially if he's hit tweener status where the crowd really appreciates him.
Yeah, for sure. All in all, good match, good main event. Anything else from this one, Dom?
No, I think we got the ring psychology down with both guys selling injuries, Cody early and Drew late, and that each guy worked a good match.
Well, as we go into the follow here, we got the Fixer saying Stephanie Vakor and Io Sky had the best match of the night.
Do you want to go to that one next then, since we have one vote for that as match of the night there?
Let's do it. Let's go to the follow. We're here in match of the night, and I'll even include this additional chat from the Fixer. Was the only surprise of the night was Stephanie Vakor winning the title. So Stephanie Vakor wins the title over Io Sky. Dom,
Very much so.
what did you think of this match? Because I did not see it, so maybe you give me some feedback.
You did not see this one. Oh, this was a
this is the
20-minute match for the vacated women's title when Naomi announced her pregnancy. By the way, the Raw women's division is loaded, as Ron White would say. Drunk comedian Ron White. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer. They've got Rhea Ripley waiting in the wings. Asuka and Kairi Sane. They've got Bayley, Lyra Valkyria. Great work happening from Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Becky Lynch is on my women's Mount Rushmore. She's holding down that one. And we're not even talking about Liv Morgan being out with an injury and Naomi having to take a leave of absence with her pregnancy. The women's division is crazy on Raw. It is so deep. I am not surprised that Stephanie Vaquer won this title. My only question would be is if Naomi did not have to vacate the title, if they would have made the switch this soon to Stephanie Vaquer. Because it looked like Stephanie Vaquer has been so good since she showed up a year ago, and she had a great pedigree before this. I mean, she's in her early 30s. She's no rookie.
Mm-hmm.
She's a seasoned veteran. She's in her prime. She's fantastic at everything she does. Like Io Sky, same framework there. Io Sky, again, she had a pedigree before this latest run in WWE. She's in her early to mid 30s, seasoned veteran, top of her game. These two put on a banger of a show. Match went about 20 minutes. It was everything you could hope for. It was really two baby faces. Nobody was against either one of these wrestlers. They haven't really built up enough hate character for either one of them. I mean, Stephanie Vaquer is a crowd favorite because she's so good. She does exciting moves. Io Sky's been a crowd favorite on her latest run here as a singles wrestler. This was fantastic. Post-match, the women bowed to each other in the ring and hugged. So this was not really a grudge match or a hate feud. It was just two wrestlers had to be thrown in the ring to take care of something unexpected that happened with the title picture. And they put on as good a matches as you could have with no real build and no character animosity. It was just a great in-ring wrestling match. You would have avoided this one. You would have enjoyed this one, John. So if you want to go back and see it, I would recommend this one. As I wrote in my notes, holds and reversals early, crowd dead. I like
it. Yes, not just letting them warm up a little bit is always really helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah. Maybe I'll go back and watch this one. Stephanie Vaquer hasn't been on the main roster a year yet, but I have no problem with her being the champ.
Yeah, okay, Mia. She was signed about a year ago, but had a little bit of an NXT run.
But I was 100% sure Io was winning the title. You know, honestly,
wow, okay.
I honestly, as far as Io Sky is concerned, yeah, I probably should have made some time for this one. I just hit the big ones last night due to time constraints. And I really, Io Sky always delivers. I don't think I've ever seen a match where I was like, you could skip that one with Io Sky. She's always got these she might be one of the best workers in the company, men or women. Io Sky.
They were saying that on announce table that she might be the best wrestler, man or woman in the company. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's excellent. So yeah, sorry I missed that one, but good to get the recap from you, Dom. Anything else
now,
from this
it does
match?
end with a little bit of, I will spoil it here because I know we got some viewers who want to hear. It does end with Io selling an injury. Stephanie Vaquer executes 2 dragon screws, first tying up Io in the ropes and then dragon screwing on the right knee and right leg. So Io's really selling that the rest of the match. At one point, she lowers her own knee pads to deliver knee shots to the face, and then that bullet train rush into the corner with the 2 knees. And that winds up playing into the finish as Io goes for the top turnbuckle moonsault, misses it, and just lands without pads, knees on the mat, which probably had to hurt in real life. And then Io sells the knee being extra hurt. At that point, Stephanie Vaquer is able to hit her corkscrew moonsault off the top rope for the pinfall after rolling away from that. There were other times they sold other counters to moves as well. Io climbed to the top rope, tried a Spanish fly, hit it beautifully, but couldn't cover right away, and also sold her right knee. So Stephanie Vaquer, by the time the cover was made, was able to crawl out, to kick out at 2. So they did some good stuff like that. Vaquer got her boots up on a moonsault earlier, and Io Sky bounced nearly out of the ring after that. She lands on her feet first into her own face on the moonsault, and she bumps almost out of the ring. And then is doubled over up against the bottom rope there. So, another good job of Io selling. Some surprising stuff from this match, because Stephanie Vaquer is closer to Io's height, and neither one of them is skinny. Io's got some size to her, even though she's not tall. Io was able to do some more power moves, and Stephanie Vaquer could take them. We're so used to seeing Io versus Rhea Ripley in their rivalry recently, and Io's not going to have a power game against Rhea. But against Stephanie Vaquer, Io does this backbreaker where it's almost like a vertical suplex, but she picks up Stephanie Vaquer and just holds her there for a few beats, total vertical. That takes some strength, and it's kind of a power move into a backbreaker there. So Io executes that. She does a scoop slam on Stephanie Vaquer, where as she turns her, she holds her for a beat there and then does the slam. So Io showing off some power in this match that you didn't think she had. The only thing that struck me as a little flaky in the match is that, I guess because they haven't worked together before, they've never had a singles match before at any level in any promotion, is that Io, as she's going for the strikes, it looks like she was unsure as to how stiff she could work with Stephanie Vaquer, and not being really a striker. She hasn't mastered, the art of striking in professional wrestling is you don't pull your punches.
Yeah.
What you have to do is measure your opponent so that your opponent is right at the end of your motion, so that you don't have to slow down your motion. Ric Flair was a master of this. He'd get a guy in a headlock, and then he'd do those close punches. But he'd cock his right arm so that as he's striking, his arm just isn't going far enough to hit the guy in the head. So he doesn't have to pull his punch at the end to avoid impact. He's got it down where he knows where his range of motion is going to be. So he just does that range of motion full speed.
A little inside baseball.
Inside baseball. It's like when guys do that big punches. The reason Hulk Hogan would put his left arm on the guy before punching with his right hand is because he's measuring the guy. He knows if he's got the guy left arm extended, then when he throws his punch is going to end right here at his left wrist and not actually flatten the guy in the face. So the art of punching without decelerating at the end is to have the opponent measured. And just Ric Flair used to practice by hanging a string from the ceiling.
Yeah, I've heard that story.
And practicing his punches until the string didn't move. And that's when he knew he had measured his opponent and correctly gauged his range of motion, so that without decelerating at the end, he was just getting to that string without the string flying away.
Yeah, so yeah, I was saying a little inside baseball from my perspective. I was so bad at the striking, I just could not understand the concept, that I just cut it from my whole arsenal. If you go back and look, I just didn't do any striking. I just did wrestling because I was just the punches would look so fake when I would do them, and I was I didn't really get it, and I just was let me move. I can do all the other stuff, but let me just focus on what I'm good at and just cut the striking out and just do it when I have to.
It's a subtle art because
it's hard.
It's
really
easy
hard
for strikes to look bad if you have to decelerate. And it's also easy for them to actually be bad in real life if you do them poorly and actually punch a guy in the face.
We got one from the Fixer here.
Travis Scott.
You don't want to. You never want to Travis Scott it.
You never want to Travis Scott it and be so bad at striking that even on a slap, you manage to destroy someone's eardrum and give him a black eye.
Can we normalize that? Just calling he Travis Scotted it. You know,
right? Yes.
like,
if you're so bad at striking
that you punch someone in the head for real, and it looks like
Travis
crap.
Scott, yes.
The problem with Io is it's hard for her to be a striker. Is her height, especially against people like Rhea Ripley, which we've had too many Io versus Rhea matches. But
agreed that the Io versus Rhea series ended exactly when it should have.
Mm-hmm.
They were in danger of overdoing that one. Now they'll wrestle again somewhere down the road, I hope, because they've got great chemistry with each other. But for that series within that short time span, we had just enough Io Rhea where it was like, this is awesome, and I'm not tired of it yet.
Yeah.
And in that sense, that may be why they couldn't put the belt on Io here, because Stephanie Vaquer, she needs to run through a lot of opponents on the main roster. You got done talking about how loaded the Raw women's division is. She has a lot of opponents waiting for her if they want a long title run here. One of them being possibly Rhea Ripley.
Before we move forward, Dom, can you mess around a little bit with your audio mic? It's like, there you go. Okay, better.
Around a little with my audio mic.
Because there's like a hiss. There, it's gone.
There's a hiss. Okay. I hope it's not me hissing at people. I'm ticked off now and I'm just hissing at people. Boo, hiss.
No, you're good.
Not for this match though. This match was awesome. Stephanie Vaquer looks the part. She looks
really
like
does.
A champion, wrestles like a champion, and gets crowd reactions like a champion. There's few moves anywhere in wrestling that garner the type of anticipation as her doing the Devil's Kiss, where she does the headlock between the knees, turns the wrestler over, and does the pound of the head into the mat with the knees. You know, it's like a bulldog, but with your legs instead of your arms. And like as she's setting that up, like there's an audible "oh" from the crowd. Like there's few moves in wrestling that get an audible response in anticipation.
You know, I saw a video, and Gorgeous George in the 40s did the Devil's. She actually took that from Gorgeous George from a match in the 40s. He would do that, which is insane to think that like that move existed and then was just completely gone, and then she just brought it back, which is a great idea, really. Just like take it from Gorgeous George, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like 1946. The match is like it's got all the lookings of 1946 too in the match, and he does that move, the Devil's Kiss.
I did not know that. That's the kind of thing you would expect, say, over in AEW for Tony Storm to do,
right?
Like as a bring back that period kind of thing.
No, she must have just somebody must have just found it, like looking at the old videos, and I would do that too. Like I would borrow things from the past, steal things from the past. Like I'd always look at Mick Foley because he was not athletic at all, but a good pro wrestler. So I would take moves from him, like that. Like this doesn't require a lot of athleticism, but still looks good. Mm-hmm. Like the running bulldog off the corner. I did that one from him, and a couple others as well. But yeah. So, anyways,
scaling the steel supports at the Monroe Business Arena.
I stole that.
Jumping off of them.
Yes. Like and not going too high either, because I was like, one more higher, it's not going to be good. So I would go just one below where it would be crazy. So, anyways, we're talking here. We're talking Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky. Anything else from this one, or you think we're good to move on to the next one?
No, I'd like you to watch the match though, so I don't want to go too move for move in it. But I mean, the big stuff for doing the recap, I think we covered. Great match. Fixer chimed in and said it was the best match of the night. for the one-on-one matches, for the non-gimmicky matches, yes, this was the best match of the night. But I might say that I think the mixed tag match grew into perhaps the match of the night for me, even though there was a lot of posturing early, but that kind of fit the storyline. So I'm going to let it go. But CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This match goes almost half an hour, 29 minutes and change. And it turned into a great, great match, finishing with AJ countering a manhandle slam attempt by Becky Lynch and hitting the Black Widow stretch submission for the win for her team, as CM Punk and Seth Rollins were just sprawled out over a collapsed announce table on the floor, letting the women have the finish of the match here. I enjoyed this one. Becky Lynch at her best in this match. I thought she owned the match more than anyone else.
Yeah, she actually she's developed really well with her heel work, and you could really see it come through. Specifically, Becky Lynch, the way she would attack Punk, when she would at times go like hit Punk, but she did it like a heel manager, so it made a little bit more sense. Where like it's a little ridiculous sometimes when they have like it, and they do this in intergender matches, but like you really have to suspend your belief to think that like a woman can beat up a man. Like I'm just gonna say it, but you would oftentimes, but the way she was going after Punk, all the offense she was doing was really like a heel manager, like a Cornette thing, or a any name Paul Heyman perhaps even, although he doesn't usually get too involved physically, but I almost go like more like Jim Cornette, where he would
with
physically
maybe
involve,
Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, like he would like grab at their ankles and stuff like that when when they're at the corner. So I thought that Becky really shined attacking Punk and making it make sense.
It does. Now there are things I don't like about it. I mean, at some point they did, like the men eventually had to get involved physically with the women by pulling them off of brawls and stuff. So it's not like they were hitting the women. I 100% agree that it is just bad optics to have men punching women or beating up women or doing anything like that.
Yeah.
And I understand why they do it. They don't want it to look like they're advocating or making light of domestic violence. However, the flip side of that, of allowing the women to go after the men and instigate physically and punch them and kick them and all sorts of stuff, that to me is bad optics too.
Yes.
Like, it's not just men who are perpetrators of domestic violence. Women do it too. Women on men, women on women. And to me, it's bad optics to have women physically instigating men and getting away with it. Like, just draw the line as you do in your mixed tag matches, where if a man gets tagged in, then the other man has to tag in as well from the other team. If a woman gets tagged in, then the other woman has to tag in, and those are the ones that fight. And the only time the men and the women get involved with fisticuffs is if it's not fisticuffs at all. You're just trying to pull someone off of a pile.
I have a wild chat that came through. I'm going to show it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ronald.
Triple H is chocolate soft serve ice cream. Someone with too much makeup on. And perhaps drinking in the ocean. And he is all of this repeatedly.
Ronald Guzman, maybe the best chat we've got in a while.
My goodness. I wonder if the man with 3 H's is watching. Ronald Guzman, thank you for that. Tell us, if you will, is that because of the way this premium live event was put together? Did you not like the booking? Do you not like some of the treatment of the folks in the office towards the talent? Please elaborate on that provocative chat there because we want to know. There have been some cries that people wonder, like, what is the office doing with some of these wrestlers?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing with LA Knight? It seems weird. Like, are they trying to bury him? We had a opinion put out earlier by the Fixer. Maybe Drew McIntyre is never going to hold that world title for real because somebody in the office just doesn't like him. So yes, tell us what you mean by Triple H is perhaps on your naughty list.
You know, I do want to take it back to the mixed tag match though.
Yes.
Specifically with the men hitting the women, or there's a point where Becky Lynch deserves it, and
Yes.
CM Punk does kind of get physical with Becky Lynch, and you're like, great, and then you're like, oh, wait a second.
Mhm.
You're like, you want to be like, yes, you got the bad guy, and then you're like, oh, wait a second, it's a face hitting a woman. It's like, wait a second, like there's still that part of your brain that's like, so I don't know. I
He
think
just blocked a slap and then
yes,
blocked a kick and then teased the sharpshooter on Becky Lynch, but didn't exactly do it.
hmm
So yeah.
so I think, ultimately, it's a tricky thing, and the match was good as a result of it being like this. They do pretty good with the couples matches, right? The couples retreat matches, if you will, where they have like real life couples together and then they're wrestling. I think there's something to be said of that
I
being
haven't
like
seen too many of
interesting.
this. Did they do more of that in AEW?
Um, I feel like I have seen it with like Triple H and Stephanie McMahon years ago
Okay.
too. Triple H and Stephanie have done the tag matches, and like it's known that they were married, but that was years ago. And those were always good, and it's cool to just see Stephanie McMahon out there. But that was like a decade ago. I'm kind of dating myself here.
I remember early on in our Don't Bury the Lead journey. And by the way, if you want to take the Don't Bury the Lead journey with us, wherever you're watching on the live stream, head on over to the YouTube channel, Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube where you can get our full archive of these live stream shows. So if you go way back in Don't Bury the Lead, I wonder I think there was one time where we mentioned a mixed tag match where it was Edge and Beth Phoenix came back versus Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley because it was Edge had been still recently kicked out of Judgment Day. And
Mm-hmm.
they had that match, and it was kind of weird that, the part-time wrestlers, and Beth Phoenix wasn't even a part-time wrestler. She was just there for a cameo. And like they were beating up the two people who, you're like, oh my goodness, are they going to be buried now? As it turned out, both Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were the opposite of buried, but it was to their credit that they made excellent singles runs for themselves. But at the time, like that's the only couples retreat that I remember. And Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley weren't even a couple; they were just stablemates.
Yeah.
So this is weird to me. I don't see WWE doing a lot of this, and thank goodness for that because frankly, it's awkward to watch.
It can be awkward when they have to have that rule where they can't kind of have contact with each other. But yeah, Fixer brings up a good point. There's a moment where Seth hits AJ Lee in the
Yes.
match, but he's the heel, so like, okay, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Like I don't want to like the guy, so, or you want to at least have the idea you don't like the guy, so that kind of made
Mhm.
sense. Other spots here, I thought there was like really great corner work by the heels. I think WWE does a really good job with that, with the heels just focusing on the corner work stuff. I love them milking the hot tag to AJ Lee. Like everyone's
Yes.
there to see AJ Lee. Ultimately, I mean, they're probably there to see Punk as well, but AJ Lee's like, oh, this is her first time back, so giving her the hot
Yeah,
tag's
there's
like a no
intrigue
brainer.
there.
Yeah, giving her the hot tag's a no brainer, and they did a good job milking it. And we were just talking about punches. AJ Lee punches look great. Her slaps look really bad, but her punches looked great. I had that
Yeah.
down. Just an observation. Um,
Apparently, the skip is a thing. The way she skips,
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
that's her thing.
That's just her thing.
Seth Rollins mocked it at one point, also skipping around.
Yeah,
This was a good showcase for AJ Lee. She didn't have to have her return match after more than 10 years be in a singles match. So she could have time to catch her breath, get her wind, get some of the ring rust off. And, for the most part, she's working with Becky Lynch, who's Becky knows how to make you look good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
AJ Lee was in very, very good hands in this match.
Anything else that you had for the match you want to call out?
I had a ton of notes for this match because it went so long and it was a lot of fun. But I don't know that there's much really to say. At some point you're just giving play by play. Like, yeah, there was AJ Lee doing her Black Widow, which I don't remember. It seems like it's almost an abdominal stretch, but it also puts extra pressure on the opponent because all your weight is on their shoulders. It seems to me though that couldn't you just break that hold by turning it into kind of a white noise and just dropping backwards and slamming your opponent? So I'll have to look at I'll have to examine it more close up one of these days. But it looks like that for just logically that hold is just too easy to break.
Mm-hmm.
And just fall backwards.
Yes.
Fall backwards. Slam your opponent. Fall back. It's Sheamus's finishing move. Just fall backwards.
Right.
It's almost a Samoan drop. Fall backwards. You're out of the move.
Yeah, I know. It is weird that they just stand there and they're all tied up, and it's like it's so obvious what they should do. It's weird that she doesn't get them down on the ground and then do it. They have to stand there. It's almost like the onus is really on the person that's taking it rather than the person that's giving it.
Yeah, you gotta support the body weight of your dance partner.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to it requires the other person to be really good and be able to take it rather than the Stone Cold Stunner, which even Vince McMahon, even though he took it terribly, anyone could take that, right?
Yeah, because you just have to drop to your knees. You don't have to do it. It's not an RKO where you're going completely to the mat on a face bump or a bulldog. It's drop to your knees. It's an uppercut punch.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the thing between the cutter and the stunner is the stunner, it's shoulder into the chin like an uppercut punch. So you just have to drop to your knees. Or some guys wouldn't even go to the knees. They would just bend over and, shoulder into the knee. The RKO and the cutter and the bulldog, you've got to go all the way to the mat with a front bump.
Well, speaking of all the way,
it's difficult to just have someone on your shoulders as a fireman's carry.
Yeah, right.
That's difficult to hold somebody there, but to also to have someone in basically a fireman's carry where you can't really use your arms fully, and to support that weight, and to now you have to balance them.
Speaking of fireman's carry, which is a real wrestling move, we have a real wrestler for real in Brock Lesnar. And we had Brock Lesnar versus John Cena.
And opening match of the night, the thing that was promoted more than anything else.
And Brock Lesnar pulls off what I would say is kind of a shocking win here. Brock Lesnar knocks off John Cena. Dom, what did you think of this match?
9 minutes of Brock tossing Cena around like a toy. The lead of this match was what happened before the match. When Paul Heyman ran to ringside to introduce Brock Lesnar, gave him the big introduction as the last real ass kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Play on Cena's the last real champion. The night before on SmackDown, they had a backstage meeting where it went amicably between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. So I'm wondering, Survivor Series. They've got to be setting up the vision, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed as one team. Is it also Brock Lesnar, and are they going to pick one more for fifth? And who's going to be on the other side of Survivor Series? Is it the Usos and LA Knight and John Cena and a fifth? If so, maybe the fifth is a returning Roman Reigns
Oh,
for
yeah.
Survivor Series. And then who's the fifth for the heel faction? So it looks like they're setting up Brock Lesnar for two things. Number one, extended dates in the WWE. He's back for at least a storyline, if not a long-term run. And that storyline involves perhaps making up with Paul Heyman.
Yeah. So as far as that's an interesting observation, and that's a really good point that because I was wondering
It's
what
the
Paul
road to
Heyman.
War Games.
I was
It's
wondering what
already late September.
Paul Heyman was doing there, and I was like, is he going to be part of this faction? I guess he won't be part of the faction, but he can at least be like, because he wouldn't be a full timer again. So why would he be part of the faction? And then it's like, oh, okay,
And he's
that
not doing
totally
Seth Rollins' dirty work like the Bronze.
right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, he wouldn't be, one of the bronze. But I'd say, you know, for from this match though, Brock and Cena wrestled like a bazillion times years ago, and this was a pretty lousy rivalry because they'd always position Cena as the big Super Cena babyface, and they'd position Lesnar as like this killer heel, but everyone was so sick of Cena that they would boo him. Cena sucks. They would start booing him. Go away, Heat, and they'd be cheering for Brock, the heel, killing him. They'd be like, yeah. So they could never quite get it right with the heel face dynamic, except for at WrestlePalooza. Brock was 100% a heel. He was getting booed, and Cena was 100% a face. So it like finally was what Vince wanted all those years, actually last night. I think there's a level of appreciation, and there's some, and Brock is a little less popular than he was years ago for other reasons. I think that might be influencing, the boos, if you will.
Isn't this what the Cena retirement tour is for?
Right. Yeah, rehashing the things he's done in the past.
Well, but not just that, but writing the better ending to it.
Yeah.
Like what you just described, it's like these guys were superstars whose careers overlapped for a significant portion of their primes. And yet they never had a proper one-on-one match where it felt right with the characters, with the backstory, the ring psychology, and then delivering where this wasn't the greatest match. It was, Cena got a little bit of offense in, needed 4 shoulder tackle attempts to take Brock off his feet. Then he hit 3 attitude adjustments, but Brock kicked out at 2. And then, Cena does the "you can't see me," hits the ropes. Brock pops up, delivers an F5, wound up being 6 F5s, and then the pinfall.
Yeah, that's exactly how their matches would go.
Like he's just tossing Cena around like a toy. He's a chew toy in the mouth of your overexcitable chihuahua.
They would do like what I would say like the musical equivalent was like they were just exchanging guitar solos back and forth where they just do huge moves. There's no bass, there's no setup for the songs, there's no hook. They're just doing guitar solos. Let's just do our finishers a bunch of times. That's what all those matches ever were. And they were always like, they were always like, oh, this is okay, I guess. But at least it wasn't
so a good
long.
thing this match only went 9 minutes then.
They
was
were
the
all
shortest
like
match of the night. And when it was done, I said, okay, if that's what they wanted, which was Brock being dominant, then 9 minutes is about as long as this should have lasted.
Yes. So, anything else from the Brock Cena match? I know there isn't much to discuss. So, anything
Yes,
you wanted
if
to point
some
out?
of you are wondering, an F5 is a reference to a military aircraft that is very maneuverable and very high impact in, therefore, its flying abilities and able to deliver payload. And so that's where the F5 come from. Because it is sort of an aerial maneuver. I mean, Brock doesn't take the guy to the floor. It's more of a spin the guy and just let him free fall almost in airplane mode with the arms and legs extended for a face bump. So
Mm,
if you've ever wondered, what could the F5 possibly mean? That's the best answer I came up with.
nice. I did not know. I had no idea. I think F5. I think keyboard, not
Wait, it's your keyboard.
refresh or something. It's a
F5
refresh.
on my keyboard is increase the brightness of the monitor,
Right. So,
which I don't really need to do. The default setting is fine. I can see.
um,
I'm
all right,
usually trying to use dark mode anyway.
sure. We don't need the
Right.
F5. Um, any other matches you wanted to talk about, or any segments, or?
There's one more.
Mm-hmm.
The Usos versus the Bronze.
Oh,
Best part of the match, special guest referee LA Knight,
of
who
course.
was fantastic in his role.
Okay.
I loved LA Knight as the ref.
He's undeniable, right? LA Knight.
Yes,
Anytime any promo segment, any lousy thing anything they put him in, he just delivers.
he's they had teased his relationship with all four wrestlers in the ring, that he seems to have heat with everybody except maybe Jimmy Uso, who like came to his aid and he was at Jimmy Uso's aid. So somewhat early in the match, Bronson Reed and Jimmy Uso fight to the floor. Bronson Reed grabs a chair and LA Knight leans through the ropes like, hey, no, I'm disqualifying you. You can't use the chair. You can't use the chair. And so like Bronson Reed's looking at him like he's basically delaying him. Don't use that chair. I see you. Don't use that chair. Jimmy recovers, kicks Bronson Reed in the gut. Jimmy grabs the chair. LA Knight looks straight at them and just like turns his back. And Jimmy Uso pounds Bronson Reed with the chair.
The fixer's got it. LA Knight shrugging when a chair gets grabbed. ...
Yes, when Jimmy finally got hold of the chair, LA Knight's like, oh, well, it turns us back to like go fake argue with the other wrestlers, like, hey, you get back in your corner, you get back in your corner. It was great stuff. A little later in the match, LA Knight did the same thing. Somebody grabbed the chair and it backfired on them. Bronson Reed had set up a chair in the ring in order to try and deliver a move onto the other guy into the chair that was set up. But instead, it misses, and somebody dropped toe hold Bronson Reed right into the chair. And at that point, LA Knight, you could see him in the background just kind of shaking his head and putting his arms out like, nice job, bonehead. You got beat with your own foreign object, LA Knight does figure a little bit into the finish, but not because he interfered and got really physical with guys. Let's see here. LA Knight teased the confrontation with Bronson Reed on the apron there. That Bronson Reed was going to interfere at one point, and LA Knight was close to him, and LA Knight reacted like, Bronson Reed was going after him. I was like, hey, don't go after me. I'm the ref. I'll toss you out of here, buddy. And so there was a little of that, and then it turned into some of the heat between him and Jey Uso. As if Jay at one point almost knocked LA Knight as someone avoided a move on him. And Jey Uso kind of held up on it. And so they teased it, Jey Uso, he wasn't really trying to hit LA Knight. And then at the end of it, LA warns Jay and Braun Breaker. Breaker, it's a short spear on Jay. Jay is bleeding from his forehead profusely. And then Braun Breaker spears both of the Usos through a table that was set up in the corner, allowing Bronson Reed to hit the top turnbuckle splash on Jay for the pinfall. On replay, you could see at some point as LA is maybe checking on Jey Uso, who's bleeding badly, Jey Uso pushes LA Knight away from him, which winds up pushing LA Knight out of the way, out of the path of Braun Breaker's double spear through the table. So maybe there's going to be these two guys making up a bit and saying, you know what? We had some heat, but we're even. We're okay now, which could lead to LA Knight and the Uso brothers and maybe John Cena and a fifth in War Games.
Yeah.
So it's been a good run of teasing that LA Knight is still a lone wolf.
We got some stuff
which
here
is
from
good. I like LA Knight as a lone wolf.
the Fixers. Highlight of the match was Jay chair-shotting Bronson Reed and waffling himself.
Yes. At some point, yes, he does do the chair on the Bronson Reed. Yes, Jay grabs a chair. Let's see. At some point, yeah, he tosses the chair at Bronson Reed to get him to like as a defense move. Like Bronson Reed was trying to interfere, and so Jay just tosses the chair at him to knock him off the apron. Yeah.
But yeah, anything else from this match that you wanted to talk about, Dom?
The heels go over again. So for lackeys, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are doggone strong looking lackeys.
Yeah, they're getting.
They always pin LA Knight.
Right?
The only reason they didn't pin LA Knight today is because he was the ref and it wouldn't have mattered. Like you can't win the match by pinning the ref.
I feel a little bit like with Braun Breaker, they just don't know what to do with him. They know they want him to look strong. They know that he's the future. They want him to be kind of like the future of the company, right?
Yep.
He really feels like that's where he's headed. And they don't want him to get poached by AEW. There's a couple other things as far as Braun's concerned. So they can't give him or they kind of gave him a monster push when he came in originally and he got the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, two big runs there. Feud with Jey Uso.
And I haven't seen a ton of him because he's on Raw, but they obviously think highly of him, and they're just not ready to pull the trigger and give him that top billing, let's just say. So he's an interesting
counterpoint.
case.
This is perfect for him.
Yeah.
He's in a stable where he looks strong. He's getting enough singles matches where he looks good. He's getting tag matches where he looks good. Not only that, but it's a chance for him to work on having interesting aspects to his character other than being the Goldberg guy who squashes everybody.
Exactly.
So
that's what he was in danger of.
For him.
That I guess they are really kind of avoiding the mistakes of the past of giving him the huge push, having him be the Goldberg guy, and now they're just like, now what? So they're doing a good job avoiding that mistake. We'll have to see.
They learned too late on Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, right.
And they're finally getting it around to it now in the Alexa Bliss tag team. But this is perfect for Braun Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to carry the faction. He gets to develop as a character and as a personality. He gets to wrestle with other top talent whom he can't squash and therefore has to give a better showing of himself. This is perfect for him.
I just don't know why they don't call him Steiner. I mean, he's why is he Braun Breaker? Why is he not Steiner? I just want to call him Steiner constantly because he's exactly like. It's like if you mixed Scott and his dad. Oh my God,
and Rick.
Steiner, yeah, it's like he's a combination of exactly Scott and Rick mixed together. And you're just like, dude, this guy is so Steinery, and the Steiners are such great wrestlers. Like, I don't know why they kind of deviated away from him by changing his name to this Braun Breaker thing. But anyways,
it's the alliteration.
Vince.
And they probably didn't want to saddle him with the baggage of his uncle and his dad, because they were basically a tag team and he wasn't going to be. And by the time Scott Steiner became a singles wrestler, he was in many ways a different wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Like his mobility had declined.
Mm-hmm.
And Braun is just not that kind of worker. So the people in the know are very much aware of who the Steiners are.
Yeah.
And like you just described, we can see it.
Yeah. Scott Steiner
This
is like
dude is a Steiner.
one of my all-time favorite character like his character is like one of my all-time favorites. Just that Big Papa Pump. Like every
Big Papa
promo was crazy. The math promo is unbelievably good.
When he finally got to TNA, where it was just like his promos were carrying him because he really had trouble working at that point.
Yeah. You could just have you could have him just do the promos. Anyways, that's the last match. We're about an hour in here. Anything else from WrestlePalooza, or is it drive time?
I don't know if it's drive time yet, but it is road time though. They brought out the Undertaker to tease announcing the main event with Stephanie McMahon, and instead, the Undertaker on the Mike said, "Are you ready?" And they're all going, "Are you ready?" And Stephanie's going, "Are you ready?" And Stephanie's looking at him, "Yes, I'm ready." And the Undertaker announces it is his pleasure to publicly state that the first member of the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame class is Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, wow.
And it caught Stephanie by surprise right on live TV that nobody saw because it was on an app that nobody has. But they got her.
This is like the WWE secret show, right? Because nobody has the app, and I'm seeing so many viewers in here, probably like just coming in like more so than usual, probably because they're like, "What happened during this show? I didn't watch it."
What happened during this show? Like, did the show actually happen?
This is it's just great for guys that do recaps because people need to know because they didn't watch it, right?
Very heartfelt moment for two people who've been in the same company for, 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie's probably known Mark Calloway her entire adult life and some of her life before that, as long as she was involved in the company, being around it is the family business. So the two of them out there was a good moment, and they really got her because like Mark Calloway is probably the perfect guy to have out there to do this, because it wouldn't have seemed strange that Stephanie and The Undertaker were out there.
Yeah. And
at all. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah, The Undertaker's out there to make a big announcement, and Stephanie's out there with him to do the big announcement. And but wait a minute. He's announcing that Stephanie McMahon is going to be inducted in the 2026 Hall of Fame.
I do have a hot take too about Stephanie McMahon.
Sure.
She is the best wrestler of the McMahon family. That includes Vince, Shane, and Stephanie. I would say Stephanie is the best worker of the three.
Better than Linda as well.
Also Linda, who was I have to include her, who was not made for it.
She took a stunner.
She did take a stunner and take it like
Stone Cold Steve Austin has stunnered the entire McMahon family, including Paul Levesque, who married into it.
Right. She took the stunner like an old lady would take the like you could just think what an old lady would do with the stunner, and that's exactly what happened with Linda.
Just lean over and sort of collapse.
Yeah, so there's my hot take about Stephanie McMahon, the best McMahon wrestler.
Perfect. I agree with you.
All right.
Has she ever torn both quads trying to do a roided up leapfrog? No.
No, she
hasn't. Has she ever torn both quads trying to get into the ring? No.
Or Shane McMahon jump off of a very high thing for seemingly no reason.
Right.
That was his move. Oh, how high can I go and how high can I jump? It's like, Shane, can we learn some moves? No, I'm just gonna climb up and jump. I'll just try to like kill myself.
How much street cred can I get with the boys in the back by doing totally reckless things?
Right. So crazy. But at the end of the day, Stephanie was the one from my perspective that's the best. All right, I
That's
think
the road to WrestleMania. It is technically already started at WrestlePalooza with that wonderful announcement from The Undertaker with Stephanie McMahon there.
Dom, you mentioned road.
Roads. What do you do on a road?
What do you do on a road?
I think you drive there, but there's another kind of drive as well. It's where it's a thumb drive where you get to store a bunch of information so that you can port it around in a very compact and condensed format. That's what we do in this segment. We take all of the information from this premium live event and we just store it and compact it into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You are taking this WrestlePalooza secret show course, pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 1 star at the ECW Arena in South Philadelphia. No. We don't do star ratings. We just say, was the show good or was the show bad? So, are you ready?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1. Oh, Dom, why'd you give this show a thumbs up?
There was a lot of fun stuff on it, and the stuff that wasn't fun lasted 9 minutes, and they got it out of the way.
Perfect. I love it.
LA Knight saved the car crash of a tag team match.
Right.
Becky Lynch elevated the couples retreat to really a great match. Drew Cody was good enough, but it didn't have to carry the show because Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer did.
Perfect. I gave a thumbs down. And to be fair, I gave the thumbs down not based off the performance of the workers in the show or the display, but simply because they're jacking up the price to $30 a month for us in the US to watch it, and I'm giving a thumbs down. I was just like, screw you. I had to watch this illegally. I would have absolutely not watched it if I didn't talk about it on the internet. So I would have just skipped out on it. So I'm giving a thumbs down because it's just like you're making me pay $30 a month for something that was free before, and you're not increasing any sort of value to me at all. There's no value add. You're just increasing the price for no reason.
Right. It's not like this was an extra special anything.
There's no extra special anything. There's nothing. It's not a product that really even can be enhanced any more than it already is. So, I mean, it wasn't. There's nothing about it that deserves or warrants the increase in price. It'd be like if they just doubled the price of cell phones one day, and I was like, "Why are you doing this?" There's no reason for this. It doesn't. It's not any better than the last one, right? So, anyways, that's my rant. I gave it a thumbs down because of the increase in price and not an increase in value. So, all right.
That's
Here
a
we
good
go.
segue into the next segment.
The Fixer. Glad me and John agree that WrestlePalooza was a thumbs down.
Was a thumbs down.
Even if it's for different reasons.
Even if it's for different reasons. Yeah, I can't give a thumbs down to Io and Stephanie Vaquer and Becky Lynch and the couples retreat being the longest matches of the night. They gave the most time to the things that deserved the most time, which is something they don't always get right in premium live events.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, Dom. It was kind of a cheap review, but we're all about cheap things here. So we're going to go to our next segment.
My backdrop is a trifold I bought for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree.
Well, that's great. $1.25. I really appreciate it. I went on
Everything's $1. It used to be everything was $1. Then they had to make it everything was $1.25. Now stuff is all sorts of prices, but I got in there while this was still $1.25.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dom, let's do it. Let me put your screen up so
There we
can
go.
get
It is
started.
Cheap Heat. This is where you and I venture beyond not only the one show that we watched, but even the one promotion. There's so much more to wrestling in the U.S. and other major markets than just what you and I watch at one show a week. So we're going WWE, we're going AEW, we're going beyond in this segment that features fodder that you then have turned into the edited videos that appear on our YouTube channel. Head over there and subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube, where you can also find the hashtag shorts, which are the under 60-second vertically oriented, mobile friendly clips that are there. Although everything on our channel is friendly for any device you want to watch it on. We're versatile like that.
Mm-hmm. You can watch it in a variety of ways because we are on YouTube. And YouTube is free, unlike Wrestlepalooza. Dom, maybe we'll kick it to you here. What's our first cheap heat topic?
From Awful Announcing, it's a running story. This isn't much of a story right now because this was previewing the problems from awfulannouncing.com and the writer Drew Lerner here that people were having accessing the new ESPN app, especially since there was big confusion as to who already had access to this or was supposed to have access to this because they already have access to ESPN. The all of ESPN all in one place moniker for the app's launch, a key pillar of that marketing campaign was the idea that no matter how or where you purchase ESPN, you'll be able to access all of the bells and whistles associated with the new app, including exclusive programming. If you want to pay $30 per month to ESPN directly, great. You now have that option. But if you're one of the more than 65 million pay TV subscribers that access ESPN through a traditional bundle, you'll be able to authenticate into the app too. And that was where some of the confusion reigned. Did you have that access and how could you do it?
Yeah. So
now you're shaking your head, John. Were you able to? Did you attempt authenticating into the ESPN app with your pay TV profile, which already includes ESPN?
Oh, I did not. I didn't even know that was the option. I went to ESPN on my TV, and I even searched Wrestlepalooza on Comcast, and there was just like, I looked it up, and it was like an ECW pay-per-view in the 90s. I was like, okay,
that's where they got the name.
They didn't even list it as an option. It was like, I couldn't pay any sort of money to even see it on Comcast. And then you gave me the free link, and I was like, oh, cool. I'll just steal this.
The problem earlier in the week was that pay TV bundles still didn't have access to the ESPN's app as promised for some tiers. Comcast and YouTube subscribers were the largest groups impacted. So this is a good test. See if when you go to the, basically if you download the ESPN app without paying for it, just download the app, you're supposed to be able to authenticate into it with your pay TV profile. I do this occasionally when I watch ESPN3, which is their free streaming channel that's available on their website. And what they'll do is they'll ask me to authenticate in with my TV provider. Now, I don't have a TV provider. So when I authenticate in with my Xfinity account, the only things I can access are the things on ESPN3. I can't get ESPN simulcast, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Deportes in Spanish, any of the other niche ESPN channels and bundles there. But I can authenticate in with my Xfinity profile and get the free anyway ESPN3 stuff. So I wonder if that's what you would have to do to see if Comcast, because Comcast is one of the ones they're having a question with, see if your Comcast TV bundle gets you access to the ESPN app. It is a mess. If they knew it was going to be a mess, then yeah, make the mess on a premium live event that people have never heard of.
Yeah.
Don't make a mess with WrestleMania.
I think you nailed it on the head earlier when you mentioned that this was kind of a test run for the ESPN app just to make sure everyone can get in, and obviously they botched it big time not getting any of the negotiations done and having access, but it's probably better to do this and just have a throwaway show. And this was pretty throwaway, but even though there was like Vakir wins the title and they had the mixed match and the pay-per-view was overall good, I think it's a good idea for them to just have this throwaway, make sure everything's tested and good, and then when we go to Survivor Series, War Games, we're good to go.
Yep, because your only test run after this is Crown Jewel. After that, it's 2 of your big 4, Survivor Series and then Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be... It's like, they used to tell us in software, don't push new code on a Friday afternoon.
My brain was thinking the same way, where we do a lot of testing in advance of the go live, right? So I was like, oh, this is just the testing before really going live.
And you don't push new stuff to production on Friday afternoon.
Right. Yes.
Because you don't want to ruin people's weekends with having to roll back stuff or fix bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do that stuff earlier in the week so you're not ruining anybody's days off. So this is pushing new code to production on like a Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning, where you've got plenty of time. The second shift can do it. Plenty of people can get to the bugs. But yes, this is a big deal from a business standpoint. 5-year, $1.6 billion deal with WWE and ESPN. We'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. You get one mulligan, right?
Right.
For us duffer golfers out there, you get one mulligan. Not one mulligan per hole, as some of us have been known to take. You're supposed to get one mulligan per round. So if the WWE is taking one mulligan for the calendar year 2025, this is from a technology and just logistics standpoint. If this turned out to be their mulligan, this is where you take your mulligan.
Yeah, it's a good article. I found it pretty interesting. Like, this guy did a lot of homework here for how this whole thing is working. Because you even mentioned it earlier, but I'll bring it up again. They have promos for how to sign up and watch it. That's how bad that's how much they realized people would misunderstand what's going on.
Yeah, it was the night before. Too bad nobody watches SmackDown now that it's not on Fox anymore, and nobody watches the Go Home show because nothing happens on it.
Yeah, they must have just pushed it all out to social media right away and like hoping people would just be flipping through and be like, "Oh, okay, this is how I do it." But
they are multimedia savvy over there at TKO Enterprises, and especially at the WWE half of that corporation. So I think avenues exist. The question is, whenever you have a disruption, there's always a chance for some people to say, you know what, it's not worth the trouble.
Right.
That's where we are. Speaking of people who are not worth the trouble and who may be there or where they are, Andrade, his shocking WWE release, as detailed here in Clutch Points, may have been for disciplinary after a recent company violation, perhaps, of the wellness policy. Writer Andrew Corpin here had this story. This also threw into flux a budding tag team with him and Rey Fenix, which looked like it was going somewhere.
It really did.
Now it sounds like Andrade violated the company's wellness policy. He allegedly had at least one wellness policy violation during his most recent WWE run. A report from Dave Meltzer that Sports Illustrated's John Alba also mentioned. Andrade's release led to some good back and forth online, as WrestleZone details for us here, between him and MJF, two very social media savvy people, especially MJF, which led some people to wonder if Andrade was going to make a surprise appearance at MJF's match at CMLL this Friday. Andrade did not, but there was enough back and forth that people wondered if this was setting up an angle. But these two work together in AEW. You remember Andrade when he had his AEW on, right?
Yeah, totally.
Andrade, untapped potential, a guy who's maybe too far out over his skis, or a guy who has it but shoots himself in the foot for whatever reason.
Seems like he shoots himself in the foot because this is the second. He went WWE, fired AEW, not so hot there, and then some locker room stuff. But AEW always kind of has some locker room stuff, and then back to WWE and fired again. So I don't know. Like whenever it's both companies you're getting booted from, you kind of got to look at the worker, right?
Sometimes, yeah, especially since the two companies are kind of different.
And especially if he's talented. I think the talent's there. So there's got to be something else going on there. There is also the goofy aspect where he was married to Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair is a way bigger star in WWE than Andrade. So they pick one of the partners there and move on? Like there's, when you mix the like relationships and workplace stuff, like it can get dodgy when it goes south, right? And
they never did a couples retreat match.
They never had the opportunity to, because he was out of the company. Then they got married. Then they brought him back, and then they got divorced. So at the end.
Speaking of that divorce, it got some play in the back and forth online. So this is the second time that poor Andrade and Charlotte Flair's divorce got very unceremoniously thrown into some sort of public angle.
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton cough.
Oh, right. Oh.
Andrade took the high road to MJF saying, "I'll boot you off the face of this earth faster than Charlotte booted you out of your house, amigo." Andrade tweeted back various crying emojis, and then "I understand," and then said, "Look, I left home. Good luck in your marriage, I hope, and no one cries. You know about me. I don't know about you." So, Andrade took the high road there. But yeah, maybe there's a future here. MJF obviously is hot no matter what he's doing in AEW. He's very good at it. He's over with everybody. He knows how to work social media. He knows how to go into business for himself outside of the ring, and he's great in the ring. And you wonder if Andrade can get his career back on the right footing there, because like you said, he does have some ability. He does have some ability. So
it feels a little bit like if they do have a CMLL, like if he goes to CMLL and they do have the rivalry, this totally makes sense. But if they don't have the rivalry, then I'm like, we're just talking trash on the internet? Like it's a little lame, I'd say.
Yep. Yeah, the back and forth online, it can get lame if it's not part of something. Right?
Yeah, right.
Let's go to some wrestlers who we may be surprised to find making appearances places, like Shayna Baszler. Wasn't she released by the WWE? Here she is appearing in an NXT promo along with a lot of other wrestlers. There's Shayna. What's she doing there? They fired her. Apparently not. So Shayna Baszler is back for an NXT promo. Will Ospreay is injured, but tweeted long enough to tell us that his neck surgery was a success. Kevin Owens, still recuperating from his neck problems, he cut a promo as Kevin Steen for Green Mountain Classic Wrestling with a Godzilla backdrop behind him. Kevin Owens looks like he has been asleep for 20 years on a mountain and has just woken up to find the world very, very different from how he left it.
He's chilling.
Liv Morgan is out with an injury recuperating. While she's recovering, a stalker that she had was denied release from jail on bail. The stalker incident apparently involved video gaming and this guy finding out where she lives, showing up at her house while she wasn't there, thankfully, and then showing up outside the WWE Performance Center. Speaking of arrests for wrestling stuff, Raja Jackson was arrested and held on a 5-figure bail for the incident at Knox Pro Wrestling, a former WWE ID partner, which real life injured Psycho Stu.
Yeah, that's not much of a surprise, right?
Not much of a surprise there. Where do you want to go to here? We've got fired wrestlers showing up again, wrestlers recuperating, sometimes showing up on other wrestling promotions, and arrest warrants relating to wrestling and non-wrestling related incidents with wrestlers.
Well, Dom, I'll tell you what.
This is a lot of heat and it's a lot of cheap.
It is. This is all really excellent cheap heat, and I'm going to go ahead and say Kevin Owens announcing his name as Kevin Steen and shooting a promo for a little indie Green Mountain Wrestling. I would never have seen this years ago with like Vince McMahon when he was in charge, but they are letting him do his thing. He's saying Kevin Steen, so I don't know if he's going to the indies at some point. If he's putting himself out there as Kevin Steen. He also is very savvy with the internet, so maybe he's just a little bit messing with people, calling himself Kevin Steen.
He can't call himself Kevin Owens. It's trademarked intellectual property of WWE.
Which is interesting because, is he going to be doing things as Kevin Steen outside of the WWE? Is this him kind of testing it out? Or is he just kind of messing with people with always kind of keeping the rumor open that he could go somewhere else? I know he's a very tough negotiator with WWE as far as salary is concerned. So maybe he's just saying like, hey, like I could go to the indies or I could go to AEW and make a lot more money. Give me some money. Or they're just saying, hey, no problem. Go ahead and do it. And just don't use Kevin Owens and you're okay. We don't view Green Mountain Wrestling as a real competitor.
Not at the moment, at least. Are they on a hard to use app somewhere? I don't know. Yes, right. Kevin Steen with Godzilla behind him, which he talked about a little later in there. It's like, why is Godzilla behind me? It kind of is. He gave a little bit more of a showing to it somewhere in here. It was also featured at the beginning. Much more elaborate backdrop than I have here with me. He likely did not get this for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree.
Mm-hmm.
But looks good. He looks like Kevin Steen living his best life, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's chilling.
There's an image for you. Kevin Steen looks like drunk Kevin Steen.
He does look a bit like, he rolled out of bed and did this rather than
Kevin
like he really
Steen looks like someone tried to draw Kevin Steen from memory.
Right. Yes. But then
Kevin Steen looks like he's going to come in 4th place in a Kevin Steen impersonator contest. I can do this all day, people.
I love it. Then we have a couple others. Good that Will Ospreay's healing up.
Will Ospreay, was this a big surprise when he announced his injury to you? You watch a lot of AEW. Because he was working right up into announcing it, almost like Kevin Owens was.
I would say with the style that he wrestles and the amount of work he was doing, he was like wrestling weekly pretty aggressively. It's not a huge surprise, but always not good to see when someone gets hurt. But he's, as he says, road to recovery. So hopefully he gets figured out whatever he needs to get figured out because he's an excellent talent.
Very good. Very good. Attack for the next generation there on his robe. And he says, the road will be long, but it'll be worth it to see you all again. Surgery was a success. So he is at least publicly intending to make it all the way back and wrestle again. I hope he can do it. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, let's see here. From the invisible hand, you sent this to me. Breaking news, a real life internet spat. One of those things that looks lame with Stevie Richards and Kyle Fletcher. Before we get into this, tell us about Kyle Fletcher. How's he doing in AEW? He's one of the younger guys there, one of the newer faces, a guy with a big future ahead of him, whether it's in AEW or elsewhere. Tell us about Kyle Fletcher before we get into Stevie Richards' criticism of Kyle Fletcher, and then Don Callis's criticism of Stevie Richards' criticism of Kyle Fletcher. Who the heck is Kyle Fletcher that's at the flashpoint of all this angst online?
I will have to say I love Stevie Richards, and I don't really know what the take is. I know they do a lot of clickbait, so I wonder if this is even that harsh of a criticism or if this is just an observation. But at the end of the day, I'd say, from Kyle Fletcher's been a great find for the AEW. He kind of came in as just like a random foreign guy, and you're like, okay, he's just like another. But he got like huge while he was there, and he shaved his head and linked up with Don Callis, and he's really good in the ring. I seen him live at an AEW Collision show, and he really stuck out to me. Like, oh yeah, this guy's got like really high potential.
Okay, very good. So
he reminds me a little bit of Randy Orton. So
you think he has a future Randy Orton?
Yeah, he really gives a Randy Orton vibe to me, which is
okay,
a very high praise.
Yeah, yes, Randy Orton's still going, and was one of those guys who was able to overcome serious neck problems to make it all the way back. So Kyle Fletcher. So tell me about the criticisms here. Did you happen to catch what Stevie Richards was talking about when he posted his video? What is Kyle Fletcher missing? What is Kyle Fletcher missing besides a lot of hair because he shaves it?
I did not catch Stevie Richards' beef, but I did catch that this outrageous tweet from Don Callis. But if you read it in Don Callis's voice, it all is like, wow, this is perfect, because he's a great promo.
Okay. So this is an all caps promo from Don Callis. This is Don Callis doing an okay boomer for us here on the interwebbies. Scott Levy, Mark. Scott Levy, a reference to Raven.
Yeah.
Right? Or as you may have known him in the old WWF, Johnny Polo.
Johnny Polo.
Scott Levy, Mark, gives helpful advice to 6'4", 240-pound stud athlete about what he is missing. One former ECW alum states, it's like Tommy Dreamer giving nutrition advice. Is Tommy Dreamer perhaps not the most nutritious-minded person?
It's actually...
I'm trying to catch all the references here.
It's actually Tommy Dreamer catches a stray here. Because he wasn't part of this at all, and he's a little doughier. He's an older guy. He's doughier. I relate to that as well. So he's got a little bit of a pot belly. So he attacks Tommy Dreamer for no reason. Tommy Dreamer is right now thinking like, what did I do? Why am I part of this? But I thought it was great.
Did Raven catch a stray as well here?
I think he just, because he's
Scott Levy, Mark gives helpful advice. Like he's trying to use this as an insult. Like, oh yeah, he's a mark for Raven.
I think because he's always Raven's lackey. That's kind of like what he's alluding to. He was always like the other guy that kind of lingers around Raven. Not really. He was never Raven, right?
Yes.
But he is right. He is a stud athlete, Kyle Fletcher.
Okay. Very good. And you mentioned Randy Orton, 6'4", 240. That was kind of what Randy wrestled at earlier in his career before the bulking up in this latter stage of Randy Orton that happened.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, Kyle Fletcher is packing on the pounds and getting like really huge. So he's really done a good job there. I think a lot of guys in AEW ignore that. Like they just don't work out, and it just it shows sometimes on screen, and you really have to suspend your belief at times with some of the tinier guys they have. But yeah,
Kyle Fletcher was asked about this because some of Stevie Richards' criticism was that he didn't think Kyle Fletcher had anyone to learn from in AEW's locker room.
mm-hmm.
And so Kyle Fletcher came out swinging, defending the AEW locker room and the culture. Kyle Fletcher saying, look, I went and watched the full thing. Look, I'm open to any and all critiques. That's fine. He spoke a lot about the culture it is in AEW. I don't think he knows anything about the culture at AEW. He said there's nobody there for me to learn from. I think that's wrong. You know what I mean? I'm learning from people every single day that I'm there. There's so many great minds. There's Bryan Danielson there almost every week. You know, so if Bryan Danielson there's someone for you to learn from.
There's Bryan Danielson. The other one is Goldust, aka Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes is there.
He's a fantastic guy to give some guidance.
Chris Jericho was there for a while. There are guys to learn from.
Yeah.
You can even learn from some of your contemporaries. I mean, who's not going to learn from MJF as successful as he's been?
Seriously.
At an early age.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn from Bobby Lashley and MVP, Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
There are plenty of guys to learn. Learn from Tony Storm. Plenty of people to learn from there.
You know, it's tough because when you're like us, you know, you're on the internet and you're making content, you just have to be a little aware that, like, if you do say all this stuff about people, they are going to hear it, you know? So I think that's got to be a bit more front of mind sometimes with these guys like Stevie Richards. Like, if you just get on a mic and just start trashing everything, then they're going to hear it and they're going to respond to you as they should, right? And especially if you have a big platform.
And Kyle Fletcher doesn't want this to happen. He doesn't want to get into internet fights.
No, this isn't helping him. But I think he probably
So if you want to have a criticism of Kyle Fletcher, it's the fact that somebody on the interwebbies decided to get into a Twitter fight with him.
Right.
And a YouTube fight with him. Kyle Fletcher from the interview here. No, man, I'm in pro wrestling. This transcription also comes to us from Fightful.com. No, man, I'm in pro wrestling. I'm going out there and you can have whatever opinion you want of me. That's part of the job. I want you to react however you react. To the people that did protect me, people who came to his defense online, thank you, but I'm okay. I've got thick skin, brother.
You have to have it, right? If you're going to be...
What you gonna do when Kyle Fletcher and the Fletcher Maniacs run wild on you, Stevie Richards?
Speaking of thick skin, you really had to have thick skin to be Hulk Hogan because he was always buried for like constantly on the internet, you know? So
yes.
It's almost like it's lonely at the top. The higher you go, you're going to have more haters.
It's lonely in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, I mentioned Tony Storm and people you can learn from. This was awesome for me to read. I don't know much about Tony Storm, but the fact that she's featured in a long-form interview for TV Insider. This is not a pro wrestling publication. This is not the IWC.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a promo on AEW's properties. This is TV Insider. Writer Scott Fishman here. AEW Women's Champion Timeless Tony Storm on going all out and pushing limits. Great to hear her and read about her sort of doing kayfabe. She's kind of in that MJF role here where she's trying to be in character during the interview, but there are some things that she's trying to answer genuinely, not as her wrestling persona. I don't know if you got to read this. It's at TVinsider.com. Look it up there. It was published on September 19th. Great stuff here, talking about how she developed her persona. It's a throwback to a golden age of Hollywood with Betty Davis, Ingrid Bergman, Marilyn Monroe. It served her well, getting a role in the Queen of the Ring biopic of Mildred Burke, where she played Clara Mortensen, one of the main co-stars there. She's now doing this in AEW. She's an over-the-top performer. How do you feel having to always be on when you meet your fans? How do you approach meeting fans in public? And you can almost hear her read this into this Tony Storm wrestler voice. I see fans sometime in the wild, and it's lovely to catch up and have a chat. The big part of the interview, though, was talking about how her collaborative efforts with Tony Storm and the rest of the AEW writers and backstage people. You might actually be surprised. There have been a lot of ideas shot down, a lot of wild ideas that our President Tony Khan has just been horrified and disgusted by. That's kind of kayfabe, but is that a shoot and a work, John?
That is a shoot and a work, because
that is a shoot and a work.
She has a mouth on her. She says some things that I'm not repeating, but it's hilarious.
TK is definitely the leader in all. Nothing gets past him as much as I do try and push the limits. And apparently they brought out somebody in the back, RJ City. Do you know RJ City? What does RJ City do?
RJ City, he kind of does like their pre-show, and he's kind of a comedy pre-show guy.
Okay. Is he involved at all? Do you know if he's a match agent or something like that? Working on match finishes, part of creative at all?
Actually, I think Tony Storm sums it up perfectly here. There's a misconception as well that RJ City, I don't know if you heard of him. Probably not, but I think most people haven't heard of him.
He's the misconception that he's the brain behind the whole thing. I must put the rumors to rest. He does absolutely nothing. I think they just keep him around, so if something goes wrong, we have someone to blame. He's more of a fall guy. He may be an intern. I'm not sure if he works there.
Right.
Tony Storm, how did she do it all out this weekend?
She lost the title to Chris Statlander, who is less of a jokey gimmick, but I would say like Tony's gimmick's amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, she dropped the title to Chris Statlander, and she was great in dropping the title because she's like leaving, like she leaves the arena so stunned as she's like lost the title. So like it was like a reaction I've never seen.
Very good. She has her own butler apparently.
Yeah, he's great.
Luther the Butler is also excellent.
This guy, yeah, he was made to be a pro wrestling butler. That's like, he was just like, this guy's perfect for this role.
Which is a rather niche vocation there in life. Not many pro wrestling butlers.
Yeah, Dr. Luther.
But Luther is creating the mold and perhaps breaking it behind him. Very good. Tony Storm, one of the best, right?
Yeah, I think for my money, the probably the best thing going in pro wrestling right now. Maybe like coinciding with John Cena's retirement tour.
Farewell. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's there. Those are the two things I'd be watching if I was just casually watching.
High praise there. Very good. If Tony Storm was going to drop the belt as she did to Chris Statlander, are you surprised it wasn't to someone like Mercedes Moné, or does she have enough belts?
Yeah, I'm glad that she knocked off Mercedes Moné, and because like Mercedes just needed a loss. She just was Goldberging it up.
Okay.
And I think Mercedes has been great in her matches. But I'm glad that Tony won. That's how I would have fantasy booked, but that's just me.
Okay,
but the match
you don't want to turn her into Monéberg.
Right, exactly.
Okay, very good stuff there. And finally here, the University of North Texas, when the defense gets a takeaway, they celebrate like former University of North Texas defensive end Steve Williams, whom you might know or may have figured out from this video here from user Stephen Hadidi on Blue Sky. Steve Williams, better known as Stone Cold Steve Austin. A North Texas turnover. They put on the North Texas Replica Championship belt and then crack open a couple of cans of whoop ass, which look like water in a can because it's college football. And so you don't want that to be beer, especially not during the game. But this is fun. How many of you knew? Tell us in the comments, tell us in the chat. How many of you knew that Stone Cold Steve Austin, once upon a time long ago, was college athlete Steve Williams, who played football for the University of North Texas?
Yeah, that's great. I did not realize this, Dom. This is like a no-brainer. Like you got to do this celebration and I did not realize I do remember a little bit about him playing football. I didn't realize he was at a collegiate level, but it makes sense. He's a big dude, right?
Yeah, especially for that time. I mean, if you were 240 back then, you were a big dude. Mm-hmm. You could play defensive end at 240. You could play defensive end at like 230.
Mm-hmm.
Back in, the late 80s, early 90s, because he was in wrestling already by the mid 90s.
And I feel like
90s, he was in wrestling. And
I feel like in Texas, when you're born there, you basically are just play football immediately. Like,
right.
It's a religion down there where they just like all play football, no questions asked.
So good stuff here. Yes, I do remember the story of him. His name is Steve Williams, which not an unusual name at all, and especially not an unusual name when he was breaking into pro wrestling at the time he was breaking into it, especially in the circuits where he was breaking in. Mm-hmm. Steve Williams, Dr. Death. So they said, "What's your name, kid?" Steve Williams. No, can't do that. We already got a Steve Williams. Where you from? The Austin, Texas area. You're Steve Austin. There he goes.
Mm-hmm.
So all best to the University of North Texas. May you have more defensive takeaways in your future and plenty of cans of water whoop ass to celebrate on the sidelines. John, it's unseasonably warm. It's pathologically frugal. What is it?
Dom, it's cheap heat. All right.
And maybe it's all the sunshine on a not so cloudy day here in the afternoon, but we've been live streaming a while. What have we missed here?
We're here. We're doing the Italian goodbye, which typically when you say goodbye to someone, you say goodbye, you move on. There's the Irish goodbye where you just say, you don't even say goodbye. You just leave, right?
Yep.
Then there's the Italian goodbye where you start to say goodbye, then you continue the conversation, and it just goes on and on and on. That's how we exit the show. It's kind of an Italian goodbye. We just drop off when we sort of feel like it. However, today is a special day as my son must be picked up from daycare. So I am kind of doing a regular goodbye today.
Well, perfect. We can do that as well. Regular parting is such sweet sorrow.
Such sweet sorrow. We will be out next week as it's my birthday and I'm having a birthday party. And Dom will be there and I will be there. So guess what?
I hope you're at your birthday party.
That's 2 out of 2 people in the show. I am officially 40. Oh, look, I'm Italian goodbying.
Yeah.
I'm officially 40. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
Anything else from you, Dom, before we drop off here?
An early happy birthday for all of you at the Don't Bury the Lead universe. If you're on the live stream now and want to jump in with a last-minute chat, wish John a happy birthday. If you're watching this in the archive over at YouTube, jump in the comments and wish John a happy birthday here. From all of us at Don't Bury the Lead, don't bury the birthday celebration.
You know what? I'm going to change this from a regular goodbye to an Italian goodbye because I just saw this. We got two things from the Fixer. Your birthday is in November, and I'll be 53. Well, happy birthday, Fixer. Or really
if
late.
you are still here, we will remember that as we get into Survivor Series area.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then, in my opinion, WWE is going to go down in quality between 2026 and 2027's WrestleMania. Interesting.
So you think not yet? You think the quality is going to stay high through WrestleMania in Vegas?
I am. Here, get Tom. Go for it.
I don't know. That's a good question there.
I wonder what the theory is here. Is it more along the lines of like, because TKO is just going to keep crapping up the product by just trying to get as much money as possible, like they did with UFC? Like,
okay,
where I'd probably be a person that would watch UFC regularly, but it's like $80 a pay-per-view. So I'm like, okay, I just don't watch it. So, maybe that's the opinion. I don't know. Fixer, if you want to elaborate, he just said happy birthday to me, so he's here. So if you want to elaborate, here we go. Exactly. They're going to just be going for money. And there's nothing wrong with companies making money, but when they get too focused and they kind of ignore the customers, that's, I think, and that's sort of like where I'm at with the ESPN app. Like, you're just ignoring the customer.
I think at this point, though, they've climbed all the mountains they can climb, unless the media landscape changes drastically. As of right now, they have a huge long-term contract with the #1 worldwide streaming service, Netflix, and they have a huge contract with the #1 sports brand name worldwide, ESPN. So unless the media industry surrounding sports and streaming changes to whereas Netflix is no longer the leader and ESPN is no longer the leader in their domain, I don't know where you go from here. I think this is it. I think you ride it out at this point and see if you now it's kind of put up time. See if these business deals you struck really were the best deals for you. I mean, you got a lot of guaranteed money. And the reason why you secure long-term contracts with guaranteed money is so that it doesn't affect your product negatively. You have the security of a long-term contract. You know there's money coming in that you can then invest in the product. So the purpose of these long-term deals should be to shore up your product. So if they do go down in quality now that they've signed 2 long-term big money deals with the top of the industry, then they've really got creative problems and product problems behind the scenes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, hopefully it stays afloat because we watch it weekly. But I mean, it's been really good for the last, kind of like since Triple H took over. And at the end of the day, this is a great point, actually.
Riyadh WrestleMania is showing that they're just going for the money. It won't be driven by entertainment for people, but is a scripted show for money. It remains to be seen what kind of fan experience they can attach to WrestleMania in Riyadh, because that was always a big deal for WrestleMania. Not always, but it became that in recent years, was the fan expo surrounding WrestleMania for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
If they're able to do that in Riyadh, then they've successfully recreated everything that WrestleMania is supposed to be anyway. And it may give people in Europe a chance to do that. Like we talk about the U.S. audience not being able to go to Riyadh. Well, they've already got a huge audience in Riyadh. And it might be easier for folks in Europe to get there.
Yeah, it's just a little odd that they just never did a London show, or they did.
Yeah, they never did a London. They
London
went
would
straight
make
to
more
Saudi
sense.
Arabia. Maybe AEW is winning the Battle of London.
Yeah. I mean, they're the one that had the big show there, and it was huge, and it was like, wow, they got to keep going back to London, and they had those EU tours. Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, this Italian goodbye, or this regular goodbye, turned into an Italian goodbye, so I'm going to cut it off. Thank you so much, Fixer. These are really great feedback. Awesome chatting with you as always, and appreciate the happy birthdays. And Fixer, you're the man. Thank you so much for joining. We had a lot of
One more thing, since we are not going to be able to live stream next weekend, an early happy birthday to Don't Bury the Lead, whose initial live stream broadcast was September 30th of 2022. Find us at YouTube, Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. Subscribe and dig through that archive for the launch of Don't Bury the Lead almost exactly 3 years ago. By the time we live stream again, John, we will be into year 4.
Wow.
We're into our Horseman year.
Oh, really? Yeah. Huh. That's
year 4 will begin by the time we live stream again.
It all flies so quickly. I didn't even realize that.
Yes.
Wow. We were doing it before.
We grow up so fast.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. That's crazy. Well, Thanks so much. Much appreciated, Dom. We'll have to do a little celebration. We'll do the celebration the next show. Thank you so much, Fixer. Much appreciated. I got to go. So have a great rest of your evening.